You kidding me, Morty? You're gonna try to take the high road on this one? You're a little creep, Morty. You're just a little creepy creep.
Well, that was a good break. Nice little palate cleanser. Now it's time to get back into the swing of things. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk. I'm here to talk to you about Gravity Falls, or more specifically, Robbie, my least favorite character. I'd even go as far as to say he's the show's worst character.
And Robbie, you can probably figure him out.
Yeah, I'm the guy who spray painted the water tower.
Anyhow, happy Valentine's Day and Super Bowl weekend if you're a football fan. I, for one, am unafraid to admit that I don't know how sports work. So my Mabel video did really well, and to that I say thanks. And thanks to whoever subscribed. It seems to have been really engaging. Because of you guys, Gravity Falls will be one of my channel's mainstays. Albeit, Gravity Falls is only 2 seasons, so it's likely not going to be every week or even every other week, but I do have some ideas, and I'm always open to requests. Anyhow, when I made my Mabel review, I said she wasn't my least favorite character. Maybe she has some writing problems and can be very unlikable, but there are still things I enjoy about her. Instead, such a prestigious title goes to another menace of society. The character I believe gets the worst writing. And it isn't Ford, or Gideon's dad, or the Northwest, or even Bill. No. It's Robbie Stacy Valentino, better known as Robbie. There's so much I can say about Robbie that just makes my blood boil. And this goes beyond the fact I don't like the guy that played him. Nevertheless, what's there to even like? In our personal lives, I'm sure we each have our own Robbie. You know, that whiny, squealing man-child who's practically obsessed with you, even after you say no. Doesn't matter if your fake boyfriend won't approve, or you got a restraining order, they'll never give up the chase. I have seen my fair share of Robbies, but thankfully, I've never dated one. Then again, I'm sure you aren't all familiar with Robbie, so let's take it from the top. Robbie is a recurring character in the world of Gravity Falls. He's one of Wendy's closest friends, a dark reflection of Dipper if Dipper dressed like the Hot Topic catalog flew up on him. In a nutshell, Robbie's needy, insecure, clingy, a complete and total poser. He starts the show off as single, albeit having a big crush on Wendy, which causes him to resent Dipper, because you know Wendy is totally 100% romantically interested in the 12-year-old boy she views as a little brother, and who happens to be her boss's great nephew.
It's obvious you got a thing for my girlfriend, don't you? Don't you? I'm sure she's just dying to ask out a 12-year-old kid. Here's an idea. Why don't I call her right now and see if she wants to go out on a date with you?
How mature of you, Robbie, you hopeless romantic. It's to the point where Robbie actually challenges Dipper to a fight, because, you know, that's sure to swoon Wendy off her feet. While they do begin dating in the Time Traveler's pig, Wendy gets fed up with his behavior and breaks up with him.
Are you kidding me? First you stand me up last night, and instead of apologizing, you want me to go to Lookout Point?
So what does Robbie do in response? Respect her wishes? Instead, he plays her a record that brainwashes and binds her to him.
You know, maybe I was being a little hasty. I'll give you another chance.
Did Alex Hirsch know certain details before the general public did? When Dipper and Stan tell her the truth, she loses it and dumps him for good this time.
Oh, I lie about a lot of stuff, like using your makeup and fighting a bear, although...
No, you know what? It's over, Robbie. We're through.
Is it just me, or did they sort of gloss over the implications? I don't think they brought it up after the episode. At least Star vs. had the cast treat Tom with revulsion when they learned why he really invited Star to the Blood Moon Ball.
Oh, I felt so much guilt every single day.
Tom, you should have.
One argument I've heard is Robbie didn't know what the record did. So as a counter-argument, let's take a look at the scene.
Hope this works.
Yeah, he definitely knew. Sure, maybe he was desperate, but that isn't an excuse. In fact, I don't think there is any valid excuse. In BTW, but for as much as I critique Star, Tom is definitely Robbie done right. He willingly gets better, albeit it's a complex journey. He learns that you have to change for yourself and not one person. When he does something wrong, they call him out on it. And even if we aren't meant to like him at first, Ryder Strong makes him super charismatic. When he finally gets back together with Star, he's gone for enough trial and error that you actually want him to succeed and make this relationship work. Now, I would have gone more in depth with Robbie being a G-rated predator, but I don't think there's anything more I can say. Besides, it's super wrong, and it's a chilly saying you aren't gonna wash out. However, Robbie's one of the Zodiac members, and since they can't have the chosen one be a scumbag, they felt the need to redeem him. Yeah, it sounds a little dirty saying the word redeem, but they did attempt it. That's where the love god comes in. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, I think it's high time I got to the worst Robbie episode. In my opinion, it's also one of the show's worst, definitely top 5. It really feels like a first draft more than anything else. What's weird is I totally forgot this episode was a thing, at least until I put the poll out. I only really remembered that one joke, and the fact John DiMaggio was in it. But I decided to rewatch it, and I discovered, wow, I was slacking. But what makes the Love God so awful? Well, let's discuss. Unfortunately, with the media, whether cartoon or live action, there's such a thing as changing times. Certain story ideas or jokes were funny 10, 20 years ago, but today, you might not be able to pull them off, often because political climates change, or there's tragic historical events. Sometimes this isn't permanent. For example, this time 2 years ago, you couldn't do a plot line about somebody getting sick because of reasons. In the 2010s and beyond, the current trend seems to be deconstructing cliches, or at the very least, adding a dose of reality and continuity. Because of this, we've begun to realize a lot of tropes are super scary when you stop to think about it, especially when it relates to consent. The biggest is perhaps the infamous love potion cliche. With this, you use a potion to make somebody infatuated with you. By doing so, they love you, and only you, whether or not they want to, forever. Maybe you aren't pinning them to the bed, but you are still doing something that in the real world would earn you a solid dime to 15. A couple years back, Rick and Morty came out with an episode all about this, called Rick Potion 9. I always say a show doesn't actually start until a few episodes in, since they're still working out the kinks and planning which direction they should go. Along with Me Seeks and Destroy, I argue Rick Potion 9 is when the show truly begins. It initiates the show's multiversal lore, and it does a solid job of playing around with cliches and dialing them up to 100. The episode's about Morty wanting Jessica to go with him to the dance, but he's a total loser, and that's putting it lightly, so he asks Rick to make him a love potion. Usually, when other shows do this, Jessica would become Trixie Tang levels of obsessed, and Morty would ask Rick to make him an antidote because he couldn't handle the newfound attention. In Rick Potion 9, Jessica has the flu, and it causes the potion to become airborne, meaning anybody who isn't related to Morty by blood becomes obsessed with him. In trying to undo it, they end up causing the apocalypse. Would you believe me if I told you the first time I watched the episode, I stopped at the part where Rick shows up at the school? I didn't revisit the episode again for almost 5 years, and it was only because all my friends were watching Rick and Morty.
Be irresponsible. You're the one who wanted me to buckle down and make you up a roofie juice serum so you could roofie that poor girl at your school.
As the episode hammers in, love potions are G-rated roofie drinks, whether you're the bad guy or the good guy. I think it's even worse if you try this and you're the good guy, since the narrative will downplay or at worst ignore what you did and treat it as an inconvenience at best. Ever since that episode, I haven't looked at the love potion trope the same way, and I don't think you could do this nowadays outside of, say, the events being an accident. Now, I was semi-excited when I got to rewatch Love God. Gravity Falls, in many ways, is a G-rated Rick and Morty, only with monsters of the week instead of aliens. I can see Gravity Falls making fun of love potions and saying why such a concept wouldn't work in real life, but doing it in a way that's applicable for kids. Yet again, I was wrong. The episode's a travesty, not just because of the moral, but a gargantuan host of errors.
No, I've always liked that word gargantuan. I so rarely have an opportunity to use it in a sentence.
Anyhow, there's out-of-character jerkiness, double standards, glossed over implications. We have a lot to get to, so I won't waste any more time. The episode begins with Wendy and her friends, looking at clouds in a cemetery. Might I ask, why is a cemetery their meetup spot? That's where they put dead people. It seems kinda wrong. And while I say Wendy and her friends, I mean most of them. One friend appears to be missing, and he deserves it. I also think it's cute they invited Dipper and Mabel, despite the age gap, and treat them with actual respect and courtesy.
Lick that sponge! Lick that sponge! Oh, I can't believe he's doing it! What is he doing?
And I do have problems with this I'll get to later. While skygazing, they find out there's a Woodstock-type festival coming to Gravity Falls, and they all can't wait to go. The headliner is some dude called the Love God.
Probably seen him in that viral video.
Who's ready to fall in love tonight? Oh! I hope nobody's filming this!
Somewhere else, they hear weird moaning sounds. They walk to an open grave and find still ruminating over his failures with Wendy.
Why did she leave me?
Because you roofied her, dummy!
Moved on.
Wendy, I miss you so much. I'll never move on, never ever.
That was a different Wendy. Unrelated Wendy.
But I didn't laugh. The whole time, Mabel can't help but feel bad for Robbie, in spite of everything that he's done, and Wendy telling her that he's a lost cause. Wanting to help, Mabel decides to set him up with another girl, and goes to work finding the right candidate. Well, that and she also wants to hit her love quota.
How can I be happy if I know someone else is sad? It totally fills off my happiness chart.
Yeah, I'm discussing this. I get Mabel wants to help people, but to me, the first step to improving is admitting you have a problem, or a toxic pattern. The whole time, Robbie doesn't admit he has a problem, and acts like Wendy was wrong to leave him, despite having every reason in the book for doing so.
First, you stand me up last night, and instead of apologizing, you want me to go to Lookout Point?
I get being sad, but that's not character development. That's being a crybaby. He even blames Dipper.
In case you forgot, your stupid brother is the one who ruined my life!
It makes it much harder to sympathize with him, but because Mabel wants something, they completely ignore this. Going back to Star, Tom realized his anger and his possession problems were why he didn't have any friends. Sure, it's not until Margot has to literally spell it out to him.
It doesn't matter if you beat me at ping pong, or pull out all my organs. You can't make Star be your girlfriend unless she wants to.
But like I said in my last video, sometimes people telling you what's wrong is the only way you'll understand. That's why Gideon and Pacifica became better people, even if the former mostly did it because of Mabel. Robbie never has that realization, so it's a little tough for me to think he's worthy of redemption when he's in such intense denial. So ultimately, Mabel wanting to help him feels a little empty, since she's helping somebody who doesn't want it, and she's mostly doing it for herself. On the flip side, I will give the episode this. The humor, for the most part, is on point.
Folk music! It's the Woodstick Festival! Zeus, lock down the shack and hide my shirts before anyone tie-dyes them!
Like the last Mabelcorn, it's one of those episodes where the subplot is much better than the main plot. And if they switch things around, everything would be much better. Thanks to the festival, the Mystery Shack is overrun with hipsters, and Stan views them as a bunch of dirty rats. Zeus tells him it's unwise to alienate potential customers, so Stan comes up with a plan to bring in as much traffic as possible. Mabel goes to Robbie's creepy house on the edge of town and finds that his parents are...
Howdy do!
Happy day!
Okay, I love the cliche of parents being the total opposite of their child. It makes for great comedy. I also like the cliche of a funeral director being a super perky, well-adjusted individual. You gotta have pride in your work, even something so morbid.
Know who would look good in a sweater like that? Mrs. Grabelson's remains!
Oh, absolutely!
Just one thing I need to nitpick, they leave a dead body in their living room and they put appetizers on it. There's a dead guy in there. I don't think he wanted to be a table. Like, hanging out in a graveyard, it seems a little disrespectful. Armed with lunch, Mabel barges into Robbie's room, even if he doesn't want her to be there, and explicitly says so.
Listen, kid, nobody in the Pines family is welcome here.
Oh, so now he knows how it feels.
It's a heartbroken soul who needs love. And gloves with fingers.
Hey, fingerless gloves look awesome.
No, they don't.
Don't attack me, Mabel. Fingerless gloves are amazing. It's not my fault they're like $15 at Hot Topic. I can't afford anything there. Wow, only time I agree with Robbie. Mabel vows to find Robbie a girlfriend, and reluctantly, he agrees. At home, Mabel's search is futile. Either there's no girls around Robbie's age willing to tolerate him, or they're already paired up with somebody else. While trying to sneak in snacks, one of Wendy's friends, Tambry, gets invited on a blind date at Lazy Susan's.
Tambry, you, me, date. Bring that sweet, sweet bod, your secret admirer.
I'll give you 3 guesses as to who the mystery man is. Robbie and Tambry are not comfortable with the idea of going out together.
I think this is gonna work out. Dating somebody I already know? It's kind of like admitting defeat.
Yeah, I disagree. I think to some extent you should know the other person. Friends might be a little trickier, but I'd rather go out with somebody I know over a total stranger. They decide to end the date early by going splitsies on chili fries, and Mabel is dumbfounded. That's where we meet Love God.
Woo! Who's ready to fall in love tonight?
And yes, that's his name. If I had to describe Love God, think of him as Jack Black if he never made movies and stuck to making music. He's loud, boisterous, but he seems like the kind of dude you can kick back and have a beer with. Essentially, he's that uncle who lives on your grandma's couch, but by some miracle, actually managed to achieve his dreams of stardom. He's a cherub, and his role is to set people up, mostly via various potions.
Meredith, that cutie right there is your soulmate, and you're living without him.
Oh no! What do I do?
Get it, girl? You know what you love. Pow! Match made!
Despite what his appearance and demeanor might suggest, he does take his job seriously. Albeit, I've always had questions about this and Cupid in general. We already know why Santa does what he does, but they never say the same about Cupid. What does he get out of making people fall in love? The satisfaction he gets to do what shippers only dream of doing? At least Fairly Odd Parents answered that Cupid has to make sure there's love in the air, or he wastes away. It might be selfish, but hey, at least they provide a reason. He sets people up throughout the diner, and this seems to intrigue Mabel. She approaches him and tries to discover his secret.
Are you an actual love god?
Call me a cherub.
Because Mabel doesn't completely explain herself, Love God refuses to cave in to the demands of a 12-year-old and tells her that with great power comes great responsibility.
This stuff can have major social consequences. It can only be used by a serious expert.
Love God! Sign my face!
Only if you sign mine, baby. Let's get weird!
Yeah, Mabel tuned all that out. She steals his potion and adds a secret ingredient to Robbie's order.
Mind if I add a little something to these fries?
I don't see why not.
Something tells me this isn't the first time the diner has tampered with Robbie's food. Not noticing the love potion, Robbie and Tampere eat the fries and seem to hit it off.
Did your whole thing suddenly get a lot more likable?
Don't seem as needy as I used to think you were. You know what? Forget it. Maybe I should stare at something other than my phone for a while.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll get to it. At Thompson's house, Mabel tells everybody that Tampere and Robbie are dating, and they don't take this very well.
Oh, this is so like Tampere to do this. Date my ex behind my back. I'm gonna tear her highlights out.
I understand not liking Robbie, but that seems a little unfair. I mean, I totally get Wendy getting mad, but for the rest of her friends, it ranges from justified
Knew I liked her. How could he do this?
to, hey, we need a reason to raise the stakes.
You like Tampere? And you told Robbie, but not me? You always make fun of my crushes, man. That's what we do, genius.
Not to mention, Robbie and Tampere are only going out because they were drugged. They didn't like each other in the first place. It's not their fault, it's Mabel's. Still, the friendship group splinters. And all I can say is, good for Thompson. Getting out of a toxic relationship is never easy.
Wait, this group is all I have. Don't make me go back to having no friends, guys.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Thompson. I feel like it's super out of character for Wendy to treat one of her friends like soap scum. And I didn't like how the episode acts like Thompson being the friend group's punching bag is a good thing. Like he's the glue that holds them together. Or as Family Guy puts it, the lightning rod that absorbs all the dysfunction. It's so unfair.
I know. I just wanted to be a good matchmaker. I never should have gotten love potion from the love god.
OMG, Mabel admitted to her wrongdoings. Guess hell must have frozen over.
Sound check for Love God?
Let's make some miracles happen. Groupies, bedhead me.
Wait, what are they doing inside that van? You know what would be the best way to fix this episode? Communication. Because Mabel doesn't know how to communicate with people, Love God doesn't want to help them.
But I made a mistake and I have to fix it.
Kid, I tried to tell you, this stuff is way too dangerous. On my oath as a god, I cannot let you—
They erase Love God, but he uses various spells to keep the twins at bay, including visions of heartbreak past.
Oh, guy from the $10 bill. I forgot I had a crush on you.
I guess Mabel loved Alexander Hamilton before it was cool. Oh yeah, I should also bring up what happens, and the biggest saving grace of the episode. So Stan and Sue get to work making their balloon, which is Stan's face with the words, "I heart kids" plastered on. Only, for such a usually good businessman, Stan doesn't put any contact info or advertise the Mystery Shack. So I sort of wonder how he was gonna get people to go there in the first place. Thanks to shoddy craftsmanship,
Oh no, a letter rip. What the H?
they played it up for all it's worth.
Kids, but we're kids. It's heaven's punishment for our terrible taste in everything.
Mommy, is the floating head going to eat us?
Yes, Charlie!
In a roundabout way, it seems both plots have finally connected.
Only a greater being from the heavens themselves could possibly stop—
The Pines family committed murder. Oh, that's good news. Stan decides that being feared is much better than being loved, a sentiment we can all agree on, and he goes off to sulk. With every distraction out of the way, Mabel is ready to correct her mistake. Then suddenly...
Mabel, I just wanted to thank you.
No.
I thought my life was over, but you were right. Just needed to move on.
No.
I'm happy.
No, you're not.
Vern, maybe we shouldn't do this.
They are kind of perfect for each other in a gross kind of way.
No.
Okay, I have a lot of problems with this. And besides Valentine's Day, this scene is why I wanted to discuss the episode. And not just Robbie himself. Even if I think Robbie deserves to suffer for the record incident, this is not the way to go about things, since you're basically rewarding him. Second, Robbie's words don't ring true. Despite the narrative treating it as a heartwarming moment, it's still fake and artificial. It's like being in love with a robot. You can't tell me this is better for him in the long run. It's unfair to both him and Tampere. Tampere more than anybody. Unlike Robbie, she did nothing wrong. wrong. She doesn't deserve to have to date Robbie, which, let's be honest, it's a fate worse than death. And this doesn't mean she deserves to have her friend group fractured, just for being cursed against her will by a 12-year-old. Not to mention, the series ends with her and Robbie still together. To be absolutely fair, the third journal does make the point that the potion wears off. Basically, it's just supposed to give two people who might like each other a gentle nudge in the right direction. It's only permanent if you both loved each other before, which I don't know if that's better, but hey. The episode doesn't say this, so it makes you think this isn't reversed, and Mabel got off scot-free. I think they only added the temporary thing because of fan complaints, but this would have massively improved the episode. Why not have Mabel explain herself, and then have Love God say something like, oh yeah, this probably wore off like 3 hours ago, but hey, no harm, no foul. And I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I bring this up because I always rag on Star Versus for doing this, and to a lesser extent the Owl House. I think it's only fair that if you say it for one, you gotta say it for all, or at least say why one works better than the other. If it was outright stated to be temporary, it could have been used as an attempt to give Robbie more character development. Now he knows how terrible it is to be stuck in a relationship against his will. Now he can actually grasp why it was bad to do the same to Wendy. To me, the biggest issue with this scene isn't the resolution, but rather the double standard. In my Mabel video, I said her biggest issue was the fact the show would practically bend over backwards just to placate her, especially when it came to receiving consequences. That way, Mabel never had to learn her lesson. Or Mabel can completely alter her personality to impress the boy of the week, but Dipper small talking with a bunch of random girls is on the same level as being a playboy. Sure, they show Mabel was in the wrong for meddling, but as soon as she goes to correct it, it's like they take a step back and say, don't worry, this was the right path all along. You did the right thing. So, let me get this straight. It's wrong when Robbie uses a record to brainwash Wendy into being his girlfriend, but when Mabel brainwashes Robbie into being somebody else's boyfriend just to make herself happy, it's perfectly fine. What sense does that make? And no, being a child doesn't cover it this time, especially when it contradicts an earlier message. So, that was The Love God, and by extension, that was my video on Robbie. Overall, a terrible episode, especially for Gravity Falls. The only saving grace is the humor. It really felt like a first draft. And as for Robbie, well, I do wish they took a different path with him. He's still my least favorite character, but hey, if they managed to redeem Tom, I'm sure they could have done the same for him. Anyhow, happy Valentine's Day. And if sports are your thing, enjoy the Super Bowl. Though, I will be perfectly honest, I don't even know who's playing.